Hello, welcome to this discussion of Federalist 78. Federalist 78 was written by Alexander Hamilton primarily to justify the Constitution giving judges a lifetime appointment as long as those judges demonstrate good behavior. Hamilton argues that the judiciary is the weakest branch of the government. The legislative branch has the power of the purse, which means they control how the government raises and spends money, and it has the power to make laws. The executive branch can enforce its decisions because it has control of the military and law enforcement, along with the power to appoint people to jobs. The courts have none of this. When they make decisions, they rely on the other branches to actually enforce them. So if, say, the executive branch won't do what it's been ordered to do, the court can say whatever it wants, but beyond complaining, it doesn't have the power to bring down the hammer and enforce its will. Therefore, not only is the judiciary not a threat to the people's liberty, according to Hamilton, the judiciary must be protected from the legislative and executive branches so that they do not take over the judicial branch and misuse its power. By appointing judges for a term of life with good behavior, the Constitution ensures this independence. Hamilton notes that the independence of the courts is essential when the Constitution contains explicit limits on the branches, and the courts have the responsibility of determining when those limits have been violated. Now, by doing this, Hamilton is opening up a defense of the idea of judicial review. So even though judicial review is not specifically in the Constitution, the framers, at least some of them, were already thinking about it. Hamilton defends this idea by saying that judges often encounter situations where two laws appear to be in conflict, and the only way to satisfy one law is to declare the other null and void. Now, if the two laws are on equal ground, that's one thing. But if the conflict is between the Constitution and a law passed under the Constitution, under the jurisdiction of that very Constitution, well, then it must be the Constitution that wins. Now, we have judges specifically in order to resolve these conflicts instead of just letting the President and Congress decide whatever they think the Constitution means and what their limits are. Now, if we give judges this power, can they use that power to impose their own opinions on the people? Yeah, that's possible, but that's true whenever you have judges. And if that becomes a problem, then there are ways to deal with it. You can amend the Constitution, or you can impeach and convict the bad judges. That's no reason to reject the idea of judges altogether. And if you're going to have independent judges to protect people's rights under the Constitution, Hamilton suggests those judges need the power of judicial review. Finally, Hamilton argues that using proper judgment in judicial cases will require expertise that's hard to develop, and therefore there will be a relatively small group of people qualified to be judges. Therefore, it should make sense that once we find a qualified person, we allow that person to keep doing the job, gain experience, gain skill applying the law, and then we get the benefit of that experience. And so he brings that around as another reason to support lifetime appointments for judges, instead of having judicial elections for a short term the way we have congressional elections, or even appointments that last for a short time the way some states do. So in order to evaluate Hamilton's arguments, one thing that we can do is we can look at how the federal government and the federal judiciary works and compare that with what we see at state levels, where they use different methods to select judges and define their term of office. So I will leave you to do that evaluation and make that consideration. And until the next time we have a discussion, thank you for watching.